Coming up now on your spoiler-free wrestling news rundown, Mick Foley has some negative things to say about WWE. Adam Cole has some positive things to say about AEW, and Chris Jericho reflects on his long rivalry with Maxwell Jacob Friedman. All that and more on your spoiler-free wrestling news rundown. This is just a reminder that we omit any news or information which could potentially spoil the results, angles, storylines, or surprise debuts taking place in professional wrestling. If you appreciate this type of wrestling coverage, please consider subscribing, clicking the notifications bell, and sharing this video with friends. WWE hardcore legend Mick Foley posted a video to Facebook that has gotten a lot of people talking and has created a lot of headlines around the pro wrestling world. Foley says that WWE's got a problem, and here is what he had to say in the video. Hello, this is hardcore legend Mick Foley. I'd like to title this video, WWE, We've Got a Problem, because I think you do, and that problem is that WWE is no longer the place for talent to aspire to. He would continue to say that AEW is doing a great job of attracting talent and building other talent and creating storylines, but some of this problem that WWE has is of their own making. He continued to say, I think younger talent sees the way that developmental characters are cut or left by the wayside, or in the case of Karrion Kross, greatly watered down and even made a joke of when they debut on the main roster. If it's not broke, don't fix it. He continued to say that if he was an aspiring talent right now with a major decision to make between big league promotions, he's not sure that he would trust WWE creative to do the right thing for his career. Foley continued, you guys did wonders with me back in the day. That was a different time, different place. If it was today, I'm not sure I would trust the powers to be with my career in their hands, and until that changes, WWE, you've got a problem. Foley would later comment on Twitter that he was trending after making these comments, and so his opinion must still matter. Also, Andrew Yang posted to Twitter, possibly in response to Foley's recent comments. He just wrote, Mick Foley is wise. Netflix has announced that on October 5th, a new movie titled Escape the Undertaker will debut on the streaming service. The movie stars The Undertaker, as well as all three members of the New Day, Big E, Xavier Woods, and Kofi Kingston. It is an interactive movie, which is something Netflix has been getting more into as of late, and here is a description of the project. In Escape the Undertaker has set a trap for the decorated tag team The New Day at his mansion. What they don't know, The Undertaker's mansion is an extreme haunted house, packed to the brim with supernatural challenges. It's up to viewers to decide the fate of these three poor souls trying to survive the wrath of The Undertaker. They also released some screenshots from the film as well, so that's coming to Netflix next month. Adam Cole did his first Twitch stream on Tuesday since signing with AEW. Kenny Omega joked that perhaps Adam Cole should check his DMs. Maybe there's been some new rules regarding third parties in AEW. But Cole spoke about his AEW debut and echoing sentiment that was previously expressed from both CM Punk and Ruby Soho. Adam Cole said that what happened at All Out was his favorite night of his career. Here's what he said on Twitch. Cole said, I'm so excited for the future. Sunday was one of the greatest nights of my life. It was my favorite night of my career. It's such an exciting time. I knew last minute, Britt knew last minute, and Britt made sure she got Mama Chugs and Be Fresh. That's Adam Cole's mom and dad, if you don't speak his lingo. It made it even cooler. Britt deserves a ton of credit for that. She surprised me. She didn't even tell me she was going to do that. It was revealed on Busted Open Radio this morning that the PWI Top 500 will be topped this year by Kenny Omega. This should come as no surprise. Kenny Omega spent much of the last year holding the AEW World Championship, the AAA Mega Championship, and the Impact World Championship. He now joins a very small list of wrestlers that have topped the list on more than one occasion. Kenny Omega first topped the PWI 500 in 2018. He now joins Bret Hart, Steve Austin, Triple H, John Cena, and Seth Rollins as the only wrestlers to top the list on multiple occasions, and only John Cena has won it 3 times. The storyline between Chris Jericho and Maxwell Jacob Friedman started in September of 2020 and ended at All Out in September of 2021. Chris Jericho took to Instagram recently to comment on what he referred to as the longest storyline of his career and also one of the best. Here is what Chris Jericho wrote about his feud with Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Jericho vs. MJF was the longest storyline of my career and one of the best. The angle started in September of 2020, and it ended last night at one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time, with the good guy making the bad guy tap out. The angle between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle was full of twists and turns, comedy, tragedy, friendship, betrayal, blood, bubbly, and genuine animosity. But overall, I feel it was a brilliant, expertly told tale that was one of the best in the business from the last 20 years. I hope all of you enjoyed watching this pro wrestling magnum opus as much as we did telling it. On to the next challenge. And now Jericho and MJF will both be moving on to new rivalries after spending the last year in an angle together. Ring of Honor has announced that 2 recently released wrestlers from NXT will face each other on the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view this weekend. Jake Atlas will face Taylor Rust, the former Tyler Rust, on the show. Both were released from their WWE contracts on August the 6th. Taylor Rust, the former Tyler Rust, had actually just been signed by WWE in late December. He had had a brief stint with Ring of Honor last October, where he wrestled in the first round of the tournament to declare a new ROH Pure Champion. Jake Atlas, of course, since he's been released, he's also been announced for shows for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So here is the lineup for Death Before Dishonor this weekend. Bandito will defend the ROH World Championship against Brody King, EC3, and Demonic Flamita. For the ROH Pure Championship, Jonathan Gresham will defend against Josh Woods. For the ROH Women's World Championship, the finals of the tournament, we'll see Roxy versus Miranda Elise. For the ROH World Six-Man Tag Team Championships, Shane Taylor, Moses, and Khan will take on Dragon Lee, Bestia Del Ring, and Kenny King. Homicide, Chris Dickinson, and Tony Deppen will take on John Walters, LSG, and Lee Moriarty. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett will take on the Briscoes. Eli Isom will take on Dalton Castle. And as previously mentioned, Jake Atlas will take on Taylor Rust. Major League Wrestling has announced that episodes of Fusion will return later this month, but it's not MLW Fusion. This will be MLW Fusion Alpha, which is being advertised as a mini-series featuring the former Dario Cueto from Lucha Underground, now known as Cesar Duran from Azteca Underground. And so episodes of this sort of mysterious show are going to begin airing on September 22nd on MLW's YouTube channel and Saturday and Mondays on BN Sports. The description for the show reads, featuring big matches, interpromotional clashes, shocking alliances, and a new matchmaker in the form of Cesar Duran, Fusion Alpha finds Major League Wrestling in the midst of a wrestling war with raids, jumps, and the fear of invasion. Will a league be shattered? Who can be trusted? So interesting stuff coming up soon for Major League Wrestling. And finally, the last thing we are going to cover in this video, AEW Dynamite is tonight from Jon Moxley's hometown of Cincinnati. And here is what AEW has scheduled for the show. Adam Cole will make his first appearance on AEW Dynamite, as will Bryan Danielson. Ruby Soho will also make her first appearance on Dynamite, but she has a match scheduled. She's going to take on Britt Baker's muscle, Jamie Hayter. In a match that was just announced today, Powerhouse Hobbs from Team Taz is going to take on Dante Martin. Dustin Rhodes will seek revenge for the Nightmare family as he goes up against Malachi Black. And in the main event, in Jon Moxley's hometown, he will take on Minoru Suzuki tonight on Dynamite. And with that, you are completely up to date with everything that's making headlines in the world of professional wrestling, minus anything that could potentially spoil future storylines, angles, match results, or surprise debuts for you. I'm your host, Gentleman Ian, from Spoiler Free Wrestling.